Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. And thanks for tuning in. This is Allie at Heart and Soul Connected. And today I'm going to talk about the Oracle at Delphi. And it is a Greek temple that was popular during ancient times, where a priestess would grant readings, so to speak, to those who came to ask them. And many times they came in as riddles. That's one of the most fascinating parts of the story. So I just want to start by explaining a little bit of its history and how it worked, and then also letting you know what some of the prophecy was that came through, including three things over the head of the temple. One was know thyself. The other one was nothing in excess. And there are a lot of other ones, but admonitions to people that really, if we knew ourselves, we wouldn't have to go and get a prophecy. And also reminding us that if we choose to imbibe in something, whether that be liquid refreshment, cigarette smoking, or tobacco use, or even asking for readings, that nothing should be in excess. You should always rely on your own intuition as well. So I kind of feel like it's an ancient way of looking back at how things were done, because nothing is new in this world. We've all been here before, and these prophecies and these places have always been here as well. So many people are unaware of the significance of Delphi or Delphi. It depends on how you want to say it, and its role in ancient Greek culture. And it's nestled on the slope of Mount Parnassus, overlooking the valley below, and it's a location made for a sacred place for the Greeks. It was a major center for spiritual and cultural significance that attracted visitors from all walks of life over the ancient world. It was home to the famous Oracle at Delphi and a powerful priestess who is believed to channel the gods. The Oracle was consulted by leaders and individuals seeking guidance on important decisions, and prophecies were often shrouded in mystery. And I think that when we look at the tarot cards of nowadays, or the oracle cards of nowadays, that it takes a little bit of understanding of metaphor and symbology and analogy and all those other things that can help, and the words that are on them, and the images that we see and the colors that are there, that provide us with the lesson or the message that's supposed to be read to the person wanting the reading. In this case, it was mostly verbal, and most people would stand and ask the question, and the oracle would come up through, I want to say it's not a tunnel, but it was built so that you couldn't see the oracle. You would only hear the oracle when you were getting your reading. The temple's architecture and art were renowned for beauty and grandeur, and it reflected the wealth and power of the city-state of Delphi. So, there was a lot of beautiful architecture at the time, beautiful urns and clothing and all kinds of things that would come to represent the Greek experience, I guess is the word. So the construction and the role of the oracle and the rituals that took place are pretty much legend at this point. The temple was built in the 8th century BC, and its construction was overseen by Apollo himself. The oracle would go into a trance-like state, during which she would utter cryptic messages that were interpreted by the priests. These prophecies were often ambiguous, leaving it up to the seeker to decipher the meaning. And so even when the oracle would give the information, the priests would then take that information and transfer it to the person getting the reading, but they might not even understand what the priests have said and how they've interpreted it. And many times you you get a message from those of us on here that do those types of things, or if you go to a psychic or a message, you may get a cryptic message and it may not make sense to you. And you may say, I don't know anything about that. But later, looking back on it, something clicks with you. And it's only later that you realize that that message that you heard had something to do with what was going on with your fate or your life at that point. And so it was really early day readings. The temple's importance extended far beyond its role as the center of spirituality. It also played a significant role in the cultural and the intellectual life of the Greeks. Their philosophers, their writers, their artists would visit the temple to seek inspiration and guidance. One of the most favorite stories of the temple is a prophecy that was given to the Athenian leader Pericles. And he was advised to build a long wall to protect the city from the Spartans. Reveal the pivotal moment when the oracle delivered a prophecy that changed the course of history, highlighting its impact on leaders and common citizens alike. This prophecy given to Pericles was absolutely that. This was delivered during a time of great turmoil in ancient Greece, where the city-states were at war with one another. The oracle's words were seen as a call to action, and they had a profound impact on the leaders of the time. The oracle's prophecy also to Alexander the Great before his conquests are well documented and had a lasting impact on their campaigns. They were not just limited, though, to leaders. They also had an impact on the life of any ordinary citizen. Many people would consult the oracle on matters of love, life, family, career, and her words were seen as a guiding force in their life, not much different than what we see today. The oracle's influence extended far beyond the temple itself, shaping the course of history in profound ways. The legacy of the oracle can still be seen today in the many artifacts and ruins that remain from the time. The temple's influence extended far beyond ancient Greece, with its legacy continuing to inspire and intrigue people of the day. So according to the Suda, which is a very important text of the day, Delphi took its name from the Delphine, or the she serpent, who lived there and was killed by the god Apollo. The sacred precinct occupies the delineated region of the southwestern slope of Mount Parnassus. It is a large, right now, an archaeological site since actually 1938. They're still working to uncover it. And we're seeing that when things occur in those areas, sometimes you will get things that uplift and change the ground underneath. And so, of course, more things are revealed at that time. So Pythia is the priestess that served as the oracle, and is related to the word python, a serpent or a dragon who lived in the site. So, the very, very important wording and the way that these things work kind of also says, it's like a snake-like name. And the Kundalini, if you understand it from learning about it in the chakra system, is an uncoiled snake that has to come up for the enlightenment to occur. There's a lot of other treasures that have been found. They have silver mines in the area, and the entrance of it is a sacred way to the Temple of Apollo. And there are a large number of votive statues and treasuries that are around this particular area if you're going there to visit. Let me see. Although the architecture of Delphi is Doric, which is a plain style, the Athenians did not prefer Doric. The Stoa was built in their own preferred style. In the iconic order, the capital of the columns was a sure indicator, and in the Ionic order, they were floral and ornate, beautifully crafted by the artisans of the time. Um, the first set of remains that the visitor sees, if you go to see, it's still there, is the archaeological site of the Roman Agora, which was just outside the precinct walls of the sanctuary of Apollo at Delphi. The Roman Agora was built between the sanctuary and the Castilian Spring 500 meters away. What this was is an open market where visitors would buy ex votos, such as statuettes and small tripods, as to leave as an offering to the gods. And in late antiquity, workshops of artisans were also created within the agora. So there's an awful lot of that that has been preserved, found, and remains something that is available to be seen. The name Pytho and that Pythia, the priestess serving as the oracle, was chosen from their ranks by the priestess who officiated at the temple. Apollo was said to have slain Python, a male serpent or dragon who lived there and protected the navel of the earth. I love that. That imagery is just wonderful. The name Delphi comes from the same root as womb and may indicate archaic veneration of Gaia at the site. So there's an awful, this goes deeper and deeper and deeper. It isn't just something that is surface level. Apollo is connected with the site, as I mentioned, by his epithet, the Delphinian. The epithet is connected with dolphins in the Homeric hymn to Apollo, recounting the legend of how Apollo first came to Delphi in the shape of a dolphin, carrying Cretan priests on his back. There's just so much mythos that surrounds these wonderful things that were happening at the time period. And, this is how they use their history to describe what they saw, whether or not it seems to make sense to us here or not. So the Delphic oracle was the site of another important oracle in pre-classical Greek world, and it was rededicated about 800 BC. Delphi was since ancient times a place of worship for the mother goddess. Remember, there was a time when women, the matriarchal, were very revered. They were the ones that did these types of things until the patriarchal society made its way in. The town gained relevance as a shrine and an oracle, and under the control of settlers, it was reclaimed by the Athenians in the First Sacred War. It changed hands in a lot of different hands over the time of all these different wars that occurred during the time. But in later literature, a friend of Lord Byron refers to Delphi in his word Greece, a poem, and he published a lyric drama, La Polonide, accompanied by music. More recent French authors used Delphi as a source of inspiration. The presence of Delphi in Greek literature is very intense. Most of the time, they were mentioned in these articles and literary pieces because of their sacredness and their meaning to the area. So just a tidbit, there's an awful lot more, but I wanted just to give you a little idea of what the oracle at Delphi was, and just how wonderful it would be to visit if you were over there in Greece. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.